running the QUA, so that's hopefully everybody will know this when they see and read the QUA. I spoke to, Nobby, I sent a message to Nobby about it because he's actually obviously trying to get a 4-metre antenna sorted out, so at least we'll keep him in co with the 4-metre net for the rest of the month, so he can get that sorted out so he can have a go at running 4 metres from his Q change. But anyway, we'll see how it goes there. I'm on 1905 at the moment. Is that, to me, is that okay with you, Guy? I'm on not slightly off frequency like I was the other day, and I did go up to 10 up above it, so I presume it sounded alright. I know Mark's one sounded okay just there. It might have been a bit toppy, yes, but as far as I can see, as I've got no means of telling whether it's toppy or not, but only by my ears telling me what it sounds like, so that's how it seems this end. Dave is okay, not quite so loud, Dave, but normally I can't sometimes always hear you, but tonight I can hear you, Dave. At least you're coming through with me with no problem. But I've got a lot of noise here as well, Guy. S9 of noise, or S8, S9 of noise. Always seem to get it, but I managed to creep above it with the Edge Rover, so that seems to work okay with me. So I'm only running the G5RV, not going to have extensions on it to make it longer for the top band, so that's working on that system at the moment. And I reckon I'm running around about 20 watts output power here from here on this setup. Thank you, guys. G0UKN, G0FDP.
Yeah, G0FDP, G0UKN. Yeah, fine business, Frank. It's sounding good, no problem at all, and 5.9 plus, as would be expected on how close we are together. Right, let's give another call out to see if anybody else wants to join us, and I'll pop it around to Dave. Anybody else want to join the Cray Valley Monday evening 160-metre net from G0UKN?
Yeah, good evening. Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha. Golf 4 Fox Alpha Alpha on KW, over.
Okay, there was two of you there, almost completely the same length of time. I got G4 Fox Alpha Alpha, and who was the other station? Go ahead. Anybody else get that other station? They weren't that good with me.
Yeah, I got a Golf 3. I thought it was X-Ray Echo. Back to you. Golf 3 X-Ray Echo. I believe this is Mike 0, Juliet Charlie Foxtrot. Do you copy me?
No, it's Sierra X-Ray Echo.
Yeah, I got that time.
Yeah, G3SXE, G0UKN. Hi, Paul. Nice to speak to you. Haven't spoken to you in a little while. I heard you on one of the nets talking to the guys up in the Monarchs, but we haven't spoken directly for a while. I wonder who you're copying, but really nice to hear you. Hope life's well with you. G3SXE, G0UKN in the group. G3SXE, G0UKN. Well, okay, you've come up out of the noise, Paul. You were 5 and 7, 57, 5 and 7 on that last over. And, yeah, not a problem copying you. I've got about S7 of noise, so you are on my noise floor virtually, or you were the first over. So you're a bit stronger now, but really, really nice to hear you. And nice to copy you. I put you on the list, so you maybe on the next time round, if you want to say who you can hear and have direct direct conversations with who you can hear. I'll get people to just pass it between themselves for quickness sake. But also, Laurie, good evening to you. Got you on the list, so that the order we've got at the moment is myself, then G6NRH, M0JCF, G0FDP, G4FAA, and G3SXE, which is nice to see a new call sign on the 160 metres. So back round to you, Dave. Dave, you weren't terribly strong on that first over. I don't know if you've got any more you can put on the fire, but your ERP can't be great because everybody else was stronger than you, apart from Paul SXE, who was weaker. So you're not a great signal. Round to you, Dave. I can copy you okay, but I'm not sure how far the signal's going. G6NRH, G0UKN in the group.
G0UKN and G6NRH in the group. Yeah, I'm only running 30 watts, which is a legal limit of 32, I know. And I'm using the Hustler vertical with the 2 resonators, which should give me, hopefully, 160. But it's most probably not the best thing in the world. I could always change it over for the next over and tune up the G5RV, see if that's better. Most probably is. But I can hear everybody. Mark is 5 and 9. Frank, you're 5 and 9 as usual. It should be. You're not too far away. Laurie, I haven't forgotten you, mate. I will give you a tinkle. You're 5 and 9. And Paul, I can just about hear you. You're really down the noise. Hopefully you can hear me, but you definitely crept up, and it was nice to hear you, mate. God, dear, lovely signal. Yeah, with that, I won't hold it. I'll pass it over to Mark, and hopefully you can hear me, mate, and give me a quick call. I say your signal is really nice, mate. Love it. M0JCS, G6NRH in the group.
G6NRH, M0JCF. Good evening to you, Dave. Good evening to everyone so far. Okay, I'm going to give reports this time round. Actually, just so you know, I'm using the Trio TS520S and the 90-foot long wire, going through an MFJ tuner, running about 2.5 to 1 SWR at the moment. I can get it a little bit lower, but I'm not going to muck everyone up by transmitting the CW signal. Right, I'm using a Pi microphone, so that might be the reason for the fidelity, is it's a Pi microphone. It's not a Kenwood or Trio microphone, so maybe there's the issue there. Okay there, so Guy, G0UKN, 5 and 9 plus 30, Frank, 5 and 9 plus 20, so that's Frank, FDP, Dave, G6NRH, you're 5 and 9 plus 30. Laurie, G4FAA, 5 and 9 plus 10. And Paul down in Worthing, Golf 3 Sierra X-Ray Echo, 5 and 8 to 5 and 9. So just creeping out of my noise floor. Tonight I've got about an S7 to S8 noise floor, and you're just creeping above it. So hopefully, Paul, that you're hearing me, and I can get a report back from you in a while. So I'll hand it over now to Laurie, Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha. I believe it's over to you next, Laurie, from M0JCF.
Yeah, from Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha. Actually, it's Frank FDP. He can't copy me. I can only just copy him. G0FDP to take Golf 4 Fox Alpha Alpha. Over.
Yep, okay, Laurie, G4 Fox Alpha Alpha, yes, I just heard your transmission in on the last one before, so I put the headphones on to listen to you, and to me you were 5 and 8 to 5 and 9, just above the noise level here, and I can hear your audio fairly clear with the headphones on, so it's not too bad here, and everybody else, well, Guy's 5 and 9 plus 60 because he's only just up the road, Dave is 5 and 9 plus 10, I'm running about 25 watts from this end, MFJ, that's Mark, is 5 and 9 plus 20, obviously Woodbridge, he's not far from me either, and yourself, as I said, Laurie, about 5 and 7 to 5 and 8 on that last over. And as for Paul down at Worthing there, I can hear him, not really loud, but I've got the headphones on, so I can hear what he was saying, but it was, well, not difficult, but I can hear what he was saying, that's the main thing. So I would say his audio was about 3, and his signal strength was about 4. something like that. Not breaking the noise level, but I can hear him from down there in Worthing with the headset on. Okie doke, right, that's the signal reports from the ones I've got here. So if I now pass it back round to Laurie, G4 Fox Alpha Alpha. Okay, Laurie, over to you from G0FDP.
Yeah, from Golf 4 Fox Alpha Alpha. Okay, folks, yeah, good evening all. Signal reports then. Guys, if I can believe my S-meter, which I probably can't, just 10 over 9. And Dave was 1 for 2, NRH. Very difficult copy. Mark, you're 20 over 9. I can just copy Frank FDP about 1 for 1, something like that. G3SXE down in Worthing, well, nil copies. Working conditions, using the KW204 to an inverted L, tuned remotely with a Chinese ATU, and I've been doing some work this afternoon to improve the SWR on the inverted L. I've got it down now to about 1.3, possibly 1.4 to 1. But the downside is, of course, the noise level is S9 plus 5, which hence the signal report problems. A bit later on, Guy, I plan to come up with the 85, code 85, which has had a birthday since I last talked to you, and possibly have a quick go at AM using this 204. Right, well, I'm not too sure who's copying me and who can't, so I better hastily pass it on to. I bet you better go back to you guys because I'm pretty sure Paul won't hear me. G0UKN to take, Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha, over.
Yeah, G4FIA, G0UKN. Let me pass it directly round to Paul, G3SXE, and then back round to me, and Paul can give some people some reports, etc. Round to you, Paul, G3SXE, G0UKN in the group. Yeah, G3SXE, you still with us, Paul, G0UKN in the group.
Do you like me to try, Guy?
Yeah, give it a go, Mark. I'm not getting anything at the moment.
Yeah, Golf 3 Sierra X-Ray Echo. Golf 3 Sierra X-Ray Echo. This is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox. Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox on the Cray Valley net. Are you copying me, Paul? G3 SXE M0 JCF listening. No, he's not coming back, or at least I'm not hearing him coming back. He did say on his over that he was struggling to hear people, and as I say, he may well have just given it, his best, and then thought, I can't hear half of them, and I can't get through to half of them, so maybe he just dropped off, and that's an assumption on my part. Back to you. Sorry, G0 UK in to take?
Yeah, sorry, I picked up the desk mic and it caught round the knob of one of the drawers and fell out of my hand and fell on the floor. So that's my excuse, I'm sticking to it. Yeah, nothing heard from Paul. We'll call him in each over to see what happens. Fine, Laurie, on wanting to go with the AT5, no problem. Well, it's a shame Paul's dropped off because, yeah, he was a good signal on his second over. I've been flicking between my receive antenna and my transmit antenna, and I can hear everybody on the transmit antenna. The noise level drops on the receive antenna for obvious reasons,
but I wouldn't say the signal to noise ratio is particularly
that much better on the receive antenna, if I'm honest. So that's being blatantly honest. When I thought I'd get to quite a lot of improvement, but hey ho, that's the way it goes. Dave, yeah, feel free to try having a go at tuning up your G5RV, and we'll tell you what the difference is. You might find it very, very picky to tune, but if you can get a match, let's see what the difference is between the two antennas and see which one gives the stronger signal strength, because you're not as strong as perhaps I'd expect you to be. Back around to you, G6NRH, G0UK in the group.
G0UKN, G6NRH in the group. I have quickly tried it while you were transmitting, and I was getting an SWR of 2.8, and it wasn't very good. I gave it as a bad job. I do apologise if I caused any interference, but I'm back on the vertical. So I'll have to live with it and just see how it goes for the moment. Not a lot of difference. I used to be able to do it. I don't know what's happened. Then the old problem's reared its ugly head as usual. But other than that, it's nice to hear everybody. And I did hear Paul, that last over he did. He came up quite nicely, about 5 and 5. All pretty workable. And it's a pity that he's dropped out from Worthing, because it would have been quite nice. What else? Well, not really a lot else to say, really. Oh, I'm running the AC 7300. I should really try the old girl and see, sort of wrap her up and see how she goes on top band. I've never actually tried it, to be honest. Maybe I could have a play with that. Yeah. All right, I'll quickly pass it over to you, Mark, and we'll see how we go. M0, Juliet, Charlie, Foxtrot, Golf 6, November Romeo Hotel in the group.
Yeah, G6 NRH M0 JCF. Okay, chaps. I did drop down 5 kilohertz, flicked to CW and did a bit of tuning. I've now got my SWR below 2 to 1. It was 2.5 to 1. It's now 2 to 1. Actually, it is dancing around a bit. I think I might have a dodgy patch lead. Yeah. It's all over the place, but and also drop the power down slightly as well. But yeah, I'm just gonna faff around with the patch lead on this, and nothing else to really say. We tried obviously the top band net last month, and bit of a bust. Me, Laurie, and Frank. And we ended up on 2 meters, really struggling to hear Laurie, and so in the end it was like a two-way with me and Frank, bringing in sort of Laurie as a 3-way, and then when we went to 2 meters, I think Frank G3, can't remember his call sign down the road anyway, the other Frank came on board, and yeah, and if I remember rightly, a few people came in on the 2 meters, and we ended in an impromptu 2 meter net. But that was about it, really. But yeah, I'm very happy with the way that the 520 is working, apart from right now. But I don't know why it's going all over the place. But as I say, I think it's a dodgy patch lead. What else? Sporadic E, 10 meters. The best DX I've had so far is St. Helena down in the South Atlantic, and Israel and Brazil in the last couple of weeks. What else can I ramble on about? Over 300 contacts on 10 meters using slash QRP under 10 watts. Been using a President Lincoln, believe it or not, on 10 meters for that. So that's the story for DX, another band working. A little bit of 2 meters. 2 meters SSB into Germany, but nothing great there. And the LFA should be coming up this week as well to replace the old antenna. The LFA I bought off of Dave down near Brands Hatch. I think that's all the story I've got for now. Passing to G0 FDP M0 JCF.
JCF from G0 FDP
Laurie in the 160 evening net. Yep, okay there, Mark, no problem there. You're a nice signal with me. I must admit, I'm working the G5RV days, and I can manage to get the G5RV down to just under 2. It's about 1.9 actually, but as we're only running low wattage at 25 to 30 watts, it's not too bad, I suppose, so I'm not losing too much power up the antenna through being slightly mismatched with the SWR, so that is not too bad a problem. I know that possibly Laurie probably may not hear me too well, unfortunately. He said I won it by 1 last time, but hopefully if I speak right into the mic, I've got to the compression on the rig, so hopefully my voice is a bit more sharper than it would normally be. At the moment I'm running the Icon 718 rig, which is a HF rig only, and I'm sure we'll be able to try AM on it later on. Last time we worked on the 160 mili with Guy on AM, I was working it on the Icon 706 Mark II Gs on that one on the AM, so we'll see what the difference is, what Guy will give us when we work AM on the 718 instead. It's not a bad rig, but it's got the microphone and the speaker at the front of the rig, so the voice comes straight to me. But I've got headphones on at the moment, so any quiet transmission I can manage to hear it by just turning the volume down a little bit so that the noise is not too overpowering. Could hear Paul when he did have his first over, and I could hear what he was saying. But it wasn't that loud, but I could hear what he was actually saying, so it did come through. But the second time round, I never heard a thing, so he obviously he's obviously put it to one side, or he's not transmitting this time round. So it's hopefully he does come back, and we can see it works out on the next over for him. Right. Laurie, now, you said you can just about hear me. If I pass it over to you, can you hear me this time? G0, if we pass it round to G4, Foxtrot, Alpha, Alpha. Over to you, Laurie.
Over to you, Laurie. You still there? G4FAA, G0 UK in the group.
He's on the receiving group, I can only just tell you there. They're not right. Okay.
Laurie gone as well. This is like attrition, isn't it?
No, you've gone over him twice. I'm listening to him quite happily.
I've got nothing here, not a sausage.
No, Laurie is transmitting. I can hear him this end.
Overhauled it, I think. But it does make a bit of a difference. As an example, Mark was F6, and was reasonable, but if I was to turn on my receiving group, he was much more reasonable, and noise level went down by at least 3 S points, up to 4. So these moved to help. Almost within point blank range of each other. Okay, what else have I got here? Oh yeah, well, quite interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 contacts, and I quite a change. Quite a change from the July effort, folks. Which in the end we had to reverse to me. Okay, right, on that. I won't pass it on to Sydney, I guess from URD. I'm not back to you guys. It's 0UKN, Golf 4, Foxtrot Alpha Alpha, over.
Okay, Laurie, I'll take that for you, mate. Guy isn't hearing you, so me and Dave and Frank are hearing you. So, but Guy wasn't for some reason. I will note, Laurie, that your signal level has dropped off. At least it has dropped off to me, but I've been messing about with controls. But your signal level had dropped off to me, very, very, very slightly, but nothing like a drag drastic or anything. You were perfectly readable to me, but yeah, Guy wasn't hearing you, which maybe it gives me the impression it's not my end. If your signal has dropped to me, then it's quite possible that it's dropped too low for Guy. But you were still 5 and 9 to me, no problem whatsoever. And just so that people know, I meant to mention this at the beginning, I am actually videoing this gig. Only because I set up a YouTube channel. I wanted somewhere to basically store all my ham radio videos, and because they are generally for other people and the Facebook groups that are generally quite boring, I just thought, you know what, I want somewhere to store them. What better place than YouTube? And if people want to look, they can, and if they don't want to look, they don't have to go to the YouTube channel, whereas on the Facebook groups they sort of have to go through it, if you know what I mean. So that was the reasoning there. So this video will be going on the YouTube channel. I will email the link to the YouTube channel, and everyone can then see how you are on my radio. Now obviously it's quite subjective, it's my radio, it's my setup, but you will get a feeling for how you sound. One thing I will say about Laurie, your rig, I do have to use the RIT to make you sound like Laurie. Everyone else, I don't need the RIT in, but with you, Laurie, I have to switch it in, and it's down minus just a few tens of hertz, that's all, but it makes you sound more like Laurie than Laurie doing an imitation of Donald Duck. So there's that gives you an idea. Right, I seem to have rambled on and not given me call sign, which is a bit remiss of me. I'm going to hand over to you, Guy. G0UKN M0JCF in the group. Cray Valley, top band, yakety yakety yak.
Break. Go ahead, the break. Yeah, it's Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha. Apologies, Guy. Guess who was transmitting on his receiving loop? Can I have my QSO again, over? No, not at all. That kind of foolishness. Yeah, go ahead, Laurie. I can hear you now. Yeah, Roger. Yeah, well, I was just going to say that on my receiving loop, it's worth at least 3 S points on the noise, near 4 S points, by comparison to the inverted L, which you will recall is typically 5/9 on noise. But it's 10 years or more since I constructed it, and I think probably it's probably in need of a bit of an overhaul, a bit like its owner. So we'll give it a go. But it's still basically working, and it does make a difference on occasion. So when Dave NRH was on, it was worth, say, 3, possibly 4 S points. I could just about read him 2 for 2. And this is with the Q multiplier on the receiver on as well. Okay. What else was I going to mention here? He's forgotten all. Oh, we have the interesting little Q guy on the design of your receiving loop. Is it just simply a long chunk of coax with the Faraday loop arrangement, or something more sophisticated? We'll ask you whether it works on the E field or the H. There's lots of controversy about that. Right, G0UKN to take, Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha. Yeah, G4FAA, G0UKN in the group. Quickly, let's pass it and see if Paul's back with us just to check. G3SXE, are you with us? G0UKN in the group? No, nothing heard. Anybody else want to join the Cray Valley top band at G0UKN listening? No, nothing heard. Okay. No problem on your signal at all now, Laurie. Yeah, it may be just where I've got the receiving loop or the direction it is or something like that, because when I put it up, I peaked the noise on it, and I then peaked it in terms of signal strength and noise, and then turned it to null the man-made interference. And I'm using it that way, but it's not that high up. So it basically made like a 1920s medium wave loop, just with slightly less turns. I show you. I don't know if you were on the construction competition. So it's the actual loop itself is a metre by a metre, so it's a metre long cross. And then I've got 6 turns of wire, which are terminated in a 300 puff variable capacitor, an old Jackson capacitor, and then a one turn loop going off to the receiver is the takeoff loop, just a central turn to take off to the receiver. And it peaks very well, and I've been listening to other QSOs where I've noticed a big difference, but I don't think it's quite working for me here at the moment as well as I like, which is a shame. But there you go. I can quickly write up what I did to make it for the reference of others in the group, because somebody else asked me about it after the construction night, what it was made up with, but I'll have to do that for QUA. There you go. Yeah, you're quite strong, Laurie, on the when you're not using the receiver antenna. You're not a bad signal at all. You're 5 and 9. You're probably a similar strength at the moment to Dave NRH. So well above the noise. I really am suffering from noise tonight, though. I think something's appeared since I've been on holiday, so I think I'm going to have to go for a little walk with the FT817 and see what's appeared over the last few weeks, and fine on the 160 metre net turning into a 2 metre net. Mark, no problem at all. It's just like, yeah, let's meet up and chat, see what happens, and fine on all your antics on 10 metres. When you were talking about all your 10 metre antics, I thought you initially said 2 metres, and then when you said St Helena and Brazil, I'm thinking, no, you can't be talking about 2 metres, and realised you were talking about 10 metres. Because St Helena's possibly vaguely possible, but Brazil on 2 metres would be one for the record books. Okay, I'll pass it back round to Dave NRH. Back round to you, Dave. G6NRH in the group, G0UKN.
G0UKN, G6NRH in the group, yeah. Full copies there. And that sounds really interesting about the receiving loop. Unfortunately, I wasn't there at the competition stage. Something happened. I was out somewhere, and so I missed it, unfortunately. I suppose Chris is going to chastise me because I wasn't there when we did the competition. I did finish part of the kit that was supposed to be building the LSR, software-defined radio, and but hey ho, I've still got some more bits to do on it. Receiving loop. I did see one, and Laurie's sort of with another one is where he just goes around the garden and it's virtually in a square. I'll think about doing the same sort of thing here in my garden and putting, say, an inductance transformer, and it's going straight in with a bit of coax going up and doing it that way. I've got that sort of thing sticking out in the garden, the baby loops. I could use that as some kind of receiving antenna. Unfortunately, I can't use it for the 2 radios, but it's connected to that one. So I've changed the whole system over. Oh, yeah. What are we on? Oh, brilliant. The auto transform is now playing up, so something must be drastically wrong, as usual. Oh well, I think I might switch it over and try the 857, see if that might be better, because it's on a different aerial. Anyway, I'll quickly pass it over to you, Mark. M0JCF, G6NRH in the group.
G6NRH, M0JCF in the Cray Valley Top Band Monday net. Right, receiving loops, my story for receiving loops, yeah, and yes, I was in that construction competition, so I saw Guy's loop, and for some reason I thought it was quite small, and I'll tell you for why. My thoughts on that was back in the day. This is the 1970s when I was a keen shortwave listener and a medium wave DXer. I built the classic medium wave receiving loop. Now this was made of 2 planks of wood in a cross affair. So obviously in the centre of the planks, the centres were cut halfway through, so you could slot them both together in a joint. So it was 5 foot on each side, and then it was 7 turns of copper wire, just single core enamelled copper wire. Then 2 turns in, it was overlaid by a 1 turn a coupling loop. Now that 1 turn coupling loop is what went off to the receiver. The 7 turn loop was terminated, each end was terminated in a 500 puff capacitor. It was just an airspace capacitor out of an old valve radio, so you could tune the antenna to the required frequency, and basically it was a case of just tune in your station and then peak the capacitor on the loop. And of course the loop you rotate it as well, because it had some very, very good null at the edges, and received very, very well face on. And I had some marvellous time medium wave DXing with that. I always remember stations out of New York and Canada always listening to their crazy adverts and stuff like that, adverts that were a far cry from what we was getting in the UK at that time in the 1970s. They had that very, very American feel to them without even knowing what products they were selling. So that's my experience with loops. I did manage to get it to work on long wave as well, and I did that. The capacitor that I got from the valve radio was a dual gang pair of 500s. And all I did was series them to give me 1,000 puff, and I'd find that would go into the top end of the long wave band as well. Which the long wave, although there weren't a lot of broadcast stations per se for the UK, was very, very good at getting continental, African and particularly Russian radio stations. Always difficult to know what they was going on about, because they were talking in Russian, but with your World Radio and TV handbook in hand, and a few other books and bits of literature, you could normally work out what station you was listening to. And I was always intrigued. Would I receive, I think it was Gwen, wasn't it? GWEN, the submarine communications and that, or was it Loran or one of them? Anyway, it was way down there, but I used to hear the various noises and stuff. I also got into very low frequency listening, so listening to birdies and chirps and dawn chorus and various atmospherics. But of course then I was sort of plagued with the 50 hertz noise that is inherent with going down that low and trying to hear like the Earth's resonant cavity and all the rest of it. So that's my story with loops and very long waves and very, very monster frequencies in the thousands of kilohertz. Not thousands of kilohertz, tens of kilohertz. I was going the wrong way in my mind, and I'm rambling. So over to you, Frank. If G0FDP, M0JCF.
M0JCF from G0FDP in the 160 metre net this evening. Yep, okay there, Mark, all copied there. A little bit above my sort of moments of that sort of thing with loops, yes, and well, don't know what you did do that with the long wave and the medium wave in them days back in the 70s. Yep. And as for Laurie there, and I know we didn't hear you on the first over, Laurie, but when you did sort of go back to where you was in the first place, and your signals were much better, coming up to me with a nice 5 and 9, I can hear you much better on that second over, when we thought we had disappeared altogether, but no, you've come back now, and you're okay. Hopefully you can still hear me at the moment. I know you didn't give me a great signal strength mark last time when you gave it to me, but we'll see how it goes this time. I'm trying to keep as loud as I can on the microphone so that if there is any problem with hearing me, you'll be able to hear my dulcet tones. There's a bit of compression on the radio as well, so hopefully it comes through a lot louder than it would do if I just talk normally, so that'll be better. And as I'm using the 706, I'm using the 718 rig tonight. Hopefully that's working okay as well. Hopefully we'll be able to get a little AM later on when guys switches us over. See how it works that time. I know we did it on the 706 last time. See whether we can do it on the 718 this time when we switch over to AM. Hopefully, well, I know Guy will hear me whatever he goes on because he'll out the road with me. But it's hopefully you can hear me as well, Laurie, down there. I'm sure Mark will hear me because he's quite loud. The difference between Mark's audio, he's got nice, sharp, clear audio. Dave, he's got an audio that's just as strong, but it's a lot softer audio than what Mark is. And then, because Guy's obviously audio is just as sharp and as loud as Mark's is, because he's only up the road. But Laurie's, yes, I can hear him, but it's not perfectly sort of sharp and loud, but I can hear what he's saying anyway. But with that, we'll pass it round to you, Laurie. Hopefully you can hear me this time, and see how you get on with my transmission to you. G4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha, Laurie from G0 FDP.
Yeah, Roger, G0 FDP, Golf 4 Foxtrot Alpha Alpha. Okay, yeah, this sort of copy is Frank, but I've got about 1 for 1. But at least I could tell you were there. Okay. Interesting, Guy. It seems to have triggered off a general discussion about receiving loops for the low frequencies. Mine, for what it's worth, it's basically the design is based on an aircraft direction finding loop, which in the 1920s and 30s was just a loop of wire sticking out the fuselage of the aircraft at its time. Of course, they got covered in plastic or fiberglass streamlined housing. But what it is really, it's about, in my case, perhaps 5 metres, maybe 6. Walk round in a loop, similar to Faraday loop, where the inner conductor terminates, I don't know, 1/4 inch from the screen of the loop. But the big difference is that the centre of the loop has the outer screen removed altogether, a gap of about 6 inches to a foot.
Laurie's threw up right down with me. Alan's really struggling.
Design on aircraft like a ship until, well, that still is all I really know. And like I say, initially it made a big difference years ago when I first put it up. It's actually looped roughly horizontal on top of my wooden garden shed. And the kayak run is probably 50 feet or more. I did at one time plan to put an APU in front of it to make it easier to transmit on HI. And possibly put a preamp in, powered up to kayak, but I never got that far. But anyway, if you really started a movement on receiving loops, I'll get the thing round and overhaul it and see, come up with a better design. I've got to do something. I mean, the noise level on top end one. Right, okay, right. Pass it on to back to you, Guy, because
Yeah, G4FAA, G0UKN. I don't know if you've drifted away from the microphone or what's going on, Laurie, but you were so far down in the noise. I've got headphones on here and I really struggled. You were strong before, and I know you asked me a question, but I just didn't hear it. I don't know if you want to go with the question again, and maybe just turn the mic gain right up, because it's always like you're not modulating it. As Frank said, your audio is quite muffled, but you just drifted away into the noise and then talked it up a bit when you said, right now I'll pass it back to you guys. So go again, Laurie, over.
yeah, Roger, is that any better, over?
Yes, that's 5 and 9.
Yeah, okay. So I'm sitting in the dark here with my rubbish eyes. I've had the mic gain was down to about halfway. It should be 3/4. Anyway, the question was what? Well, I was giving you some brief details about my receiving loop. Like I say, it's based on an aircraft design, possibly a ship design. It's basically a loop where the inner conductor terminates 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch from the screen in the form of a loop. But halfway round the loop, the screen is removed altogether, a gap of about a foot. And the thing is horizontal on my shed with 50 feet of 500-year-old coax connecting it. And I think it works on the magnetic field, on the H field, which might explain why it lies horizontal but picks up vertical signals. Over.
Okay, I'll be interested to understand a bit more about that. Obviously, a completely different principle to the one that I've made. The one that I've built is very much in tune with what Mark was describing, with the single turn pickup and then multi turns. And this particular one that I've built with the capacitor in place, it will actually tune and give a peak from about 1 meg up to about 5 megs, and you can see a very, very definite peak, and you can also look at it on an analyzer and watch the SWR drop as it goes into resonance on an analyzer. But obviously the capacitors wouldn't take you attempting to transmit into it or anything. But yeah, we'll have to discuss that and have a look at that when I next see you, because it sounds very interesting indeed. But I'm going to flick on your next over between the receive loop again and the transmit antenna, because I'd be interested to see how well I hear you now, and I'll probably mess about with the antennas when we move to AM. I mean, if you're a signal like you just talked to me on there, I might hear you on AM, but literally when you had the mic gain turned down, it was somewhere between nothing and non-existent. But huge difference on the now you've turned the mic gain up. G4FAA, G0UKN in the group.
Yeah, Roger, stand by one. Yeah, that's the mic gain now on the 204 is flat out, over.
Sounds great.
Yeah, Roger, okay. Well, I don't want to be accused of warbling again, so I'll leave it like that. But I know from experiment that when we go to AM on this rig, I'll have to back it right off, over.
Yeah, potentially. Just be a case of suck it and see. But that sounds great. On the 204, it disconnects, unless you've modded it, it disconnects one PA tube anyway, so you're not going to be able to, on top band that is, it disconnects one PA tube, so it's only one tube operating on 160, so you will be remaining within the law. Back to you.
Yeah, Roger, I wasn't aware of that. I think when I had it apart, I discovered there was a 4.6s. But I'm pretty sure I've still got both in circuit, over.
Have a look at the wiring on the band switch. It's possible somebody has modded it in the past, but as standard, they disconnect the. I think they disconnect the cathode on one of the two tubes, mate. For you.
Yeah, Roger. They don't simply have to circuit the heater, over.
Pardon?
I say they don't simply open circuit one heater, over.
No, it's not a heater. They literally, because then obviously the thing would take a while to warm up. No, I'm pretty sure. I'll have to go back and look at the circuit diagram, but it's the same with all of the 2000 family radios, that one bottle is disconnected, and it is simply, they use an entire wafer where they're both attached on all bands except for 160.
Yeah, Roger. Okay, yeah, I'll have to have another look at it. I should be able to tell simply by comparing powers. Right, I've waffled on long enough. I'll pass it back to you, Guy. And I would think Dave NRH has probably done something magic with his antenna, over.
Nah, don't suppose so. Round to you, Dave. G6NRH, G0UKN in the group.
G0UKN, G6NRH in the group. Yeah, I've been playing about with this, but I was going to try the other radio to see if it's any better, which I might try now. Most probably the signal will be worse than it is now. Anyway, we'll see how we go. I'll be about 2 seconds. I'm just going to change over. Right, G0UKN, G6NRH. Can you hear me, Roger?
Well, that sounds super.
Yeah, this is on the FT857D, using it with an 80, NFID 80, so halfway, so hopefully it seems to be working, and it seems to be punching out signals, so can't be bad. It hasn't, and the ATU is not tripping about. This is using the LDG Z11 Pro, which I thought was 40, but it seems to be holding its own. Oh well. Yeah, nice to hear. Yeah, the receiving loop that I saw was just a long wire, goes all around the garden, and you just terminate it into a box which has got some kind of transformer, and I think it's just an impedance transformer, and it goes back to get it down to get all those naughty what's names off, and so it cuts it back down. Oh, that sounds good on the video. But anyway, so we see how we go. It seems to be great. Yeah, and Mark, videoing this call. Oh dear, oh dear. Happy days. Oh dear. With that, I shall pass it over to you, Mark, and can you give us a quick report and see how this is, the thing's going on. M0JCF G6LOH in the group.
G6NRH M0JCF. Well, to be honest, Dave, the fidelity sounded better, like your audio sounded better, but signal-wise, you were 5 and 9 plus 30. I mean, it was no change whatsoever on the signal. Having said that, all throughout this gig, I have actually been faffing around with my radio. Obviously, for me, the 520 is a new beast, and I've only been using it a couple of days, and I'm like a kid with a new toy, pressing this, turning that, and everything else. So I've been making people sound different just by what I'm doing here. But yeah, 5 and 9 plus 30, and the audio sounds absolutely fine, mate. But then, like, we're on top of each other with absolutely no undulations in between us, ground wave wise. So the signals point to point without any problems whatsoever. One thing I can try is I've realised that I'm transmitting tonight using the processor on the microphone. I'm just going to nudge the processor off. Okay, so the processor's now off. I've noticed, obviously, me needles are now flashing around like Zorro's blade, and obviously, I'm no longer transmitting an average as such, or like obviously clipping the high lights and boosting the low lights, as it were. So I'm just bunging it back on. I just wonder, Dave, if you could tell me, well, did you notice any difference in audio there? G6NRH, M0 JCF.
M0 JCF, G6NRH in the group. No difference whatsoever. It did go down. Your sort of, the volume slightly dropped, but it was quite clear, fully audible, and I just thought, no difference whatsoever. In fact, it was slightly better, taking the compression off. So I think that's the way to go, to be honest. Everyone seems to be okay. I did notice, though, with this one, when I'm using the receiver on the IC7300, and I'm just using this to transmit on this one and turn the receiver down, because I seem to be using that as I can hear everybody, but you're really down in the noise, and I tried just picking up using this. It's weird. But anyway, it seems to be doing the trip, and that seems to be, that's all it needs to do. You all right, dear? It's all right, my wife just turned up. Oh, dear. Anyway, I'll pass it over to you, Laurie. G4, Foxtrot Alpha Golf 6, November Romeo Hotel, in the group.
You missed me out, Dave.
Oh, sorry, mate. No, sorry, I should have passed it over to you. Sorry, Frank. Sorry, Laurie. Over to you, Frank. G0, Foxtrot Delta Park, Golf 6, November Romeo Hotel, in the group.
Yep, okay there, Dave. G6NRH from G0FDP. Yep, okay. Well, that's your fact. You would have gone back to Mark, really, then Mark would have passed it over to me, but there we are, it doesn't matter. Mark's had a couple of goes just then. When you changed over there, Mark, your audio to me sounded slightly different to the when you've been transmitting earlier on, so it's a different sort of slightly, I don't know what I can call it really, but it sounded different to me anyway, but no difference in the actual audio strength, but it just sounded different. And for yourself there, Dave, your audio is much better the way you were on that transmission than you were on the previous ones, because the previous audios were a little bit softer in tone, and this one is got a bit more sharpness to it, so it makes it easier to actually listen by ear, so that seems a bit better than the last time. So there we are, that's how that's worked, and if Mark wants to stay on where he was, or go back to the other one, it doesn't matter, because both of the transmission I can hear with no problem at all. I have noticed that when I was listening to you over there, Guy, I've had to go up 100 hertz on the frequency to tune it, because I know what your voice sounds like. And being on the 1905, it was slightly off. And maybe the fact that the 718 here is slightly drifted a little bit off frequency. But I've tuned you in again. I'll put 100 hertz on the frequency, so it brings you nice and clear, like I know how you sound, guys, so that's no problem. Right, I'm still on 1905. I've taken the 600 hertz off at the moment, so see how we go with Laurie. Laurie, you was a nice over on that last time, and I could hear you much clearer on that last transmission, so when you up to the mic gain, no problem at all. I don't know whether you can still hear me okay, or you've still got near 101, but I'll put it over to you, Laurie. Hopefully you can hear me just as well. G0 FDV passes to G4 Foxtrot Alpha. Over to you, Laurie.
Yeah, Laurie, over to you.
Yeah, Roger, I missed it that time. You're quite right. Hang on, let me just check that I'm on the correct area. Yeah, I am. Dear. Yeah, anyway, it's inspired me, Guy, to do something about this evening. I spent an hour and a half this afternoon on the inverted L, getting the VSWR down to eventually about 1.3 to 1. But very sharp Q on the aerial, 3 or 4 kcs either way, and it was shooting up to damn near 2 to 1. So the inverted L is actually customised for this exact frequency, so for God's sake, don't change frequencies. Right, so I better pass it round because sooner or later you're gonna inflict AM on us. G0 UKN to take off for Foxtrot Alpha Alpha, over.
Yeah, G4FAA, G0 UKN in the group. Okay, yeah, so no, interesting having a look at the receive loop, Laurie, and seeing how you get on with that. And yeah, my antenna is customised for 1905 as well. I've got about, I suppose I've got about 10 or 15 kilohertz either way before I need to invoke tuner, so to speak. But my inverted L is on 160 is resonant on 1905. They're very carefully cut for 1905. It's much broader on 80 metres, but it's quite narrow on top band. If I'm honest with you, Mark, I think the processed version of your audio is over-processed. It's got that sort of hashy, over-processed feel about it when I listen to it compared to the unprocessed. I like the unprocessed. It sounds very, very nice and crisp and clean and very nice sounding SSB. That's not to say that the processed is less intelligible. It is probably much more intelligible at distance, but the fact that you're very strong means that I see a lot of it. And when you switch the processor off, you are noticeably narrower on the band scope, which can only be a good thing. Okay, so I think there's an appetite for a little bit of Auntie Mary, as they say, a bit of AM. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transfer to the KW Vanguard and Eddystone receiver and come back to you all on AM, and then I'll go, first of all, I'll go round the list again, starting at G6RH, but I'll call on AM. So 1 second, folks, G0 UKN changing rigs.
And this is Mike 0 Juliet Charlie Fox. I'm also got to change rigs. This rig hasn't got AM, so I'm changing over to the other Kenwood, and so I will be on the list. If I don't answer straight away, Guy, it's because I'm around the back of the radio swapping antenna cables.
Likewise, we'll go for Fox Alpha Alpha.
Okay, Golf 0, Uniform Kilo November, just checking we're roughly on frequency. Doesn't look too bad, this is AM after all.
Using the Heritage microphone, which I usually use from 2 metres. It's not really supposed to be used with this radio, but I managed to wedge it in and it seems to work quite nicely. Hence why I think the audio is a lot better. So it'd be nice to get a quick report and see what you think. Anyway, back to you. G0 UKN, G6NRH.
Yeah, G6NRH, G0 UKN, no problem at all, Dave. 5.9, probably a little bit woolly sounding compared to how that 857 sounds on SSB, but that's just really not surprising because it's low level AM, they never sound wonderful on AM.